What if you could turn your predictions into profit? And I'm not just talking sports, but elections, product launches, court cases, celebrity scandals, and even the fate of nations. This is the new frontier of trading. Platforms like Polymarket let anyone put their money where their conviction is and profit on being right about the future. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Crypto Gorilla video. Today, I want to talk about Polymarket, who have just confirmed they will have a token. So many people are expecting a token airdrop. As usual, I am not a financial advisor. These platforms are risky. You have to bet money, so you could lose money. Also, I have zero control over the performance of a token. If you're going to get a token airdrop, none of that. I'm just showing you how this platform works. If you appreciate that, hit the like button. It really helps my videos reach a wider audience. And let's jump right into it. So Polymarket is a prediction market, meaning it's a marketplace that allows you to make predictions on the outcome of events happening in the future. And if you're right, you can make some money. Now, most people are used to doing this with sports betting, whether it's on gambling who will win the Super Bowl or how many corner kicks are going to happen before halftime. And sports betting is actually available on Polymarket. However, this is the hyper financialization or hyper gamification of our entire lives, because you could literally bet on anything from politics, so who's going to win a certain election, or if nuclear weapons are going to go off in 2025. You could bet on tech, so when certain products are going to release by, when the sale of TikTok's going to be announced, if Tesla is going to release full self-driving cars by a certain date. You can even bet on culture, so who is going to be the top Spotify artist of the year, what's going to happen before GTA 6, is Jesus going to return in 2025, are we going to confirm aliens in 2025? There are an endless amount of markets that you could bet on, as ridiculous as some of those might seem. And this is why I really like the platform, because one, there is always something that you could bet on, and two, there is a market for everyone. Maybe you're not the biggest sports fan, so you could never bet on sports in the past, but perhaps you have an interest in politics. Maybe you really understand tech or music or movies. Whatever it is, you might have an edge in one of these markets. So how can you use this platform? Well, Polymarket is a decentralized exchange, meaning there is no KYC. You don't have to prove your identity. It's currently not available in America. However, that is supposed to change really soon. In fact, there's a market for this, which is currently at a 92% chance that it will go live in the US in 2025, which is actually something they've announced. They're just waiting for the US government to get its act together and allow it to operate in America. So you have two options to make deposits. You can use a credit card. Personally, this never works for me. I assume it's because of my region. Also, I'm just like a crypto native, so I always opt for the crypto option. You are going to need a decentralized wallet like MetaMask or Phantom. Luckily, I have tutorials for both. I will link those in the description down below. Once you get that set up, you are going to need to deposit funds. It's on Polygon, but it's going to do the conversion for you. So make whatever deposit you want, and then you should see a cash position on top, which means you are ready to start trading. Now, with traditional sports betting, you are buying fixed odds that are set by a bookmaker, and you're betting against the house. So in America, you're probably used to seeing -110 or +250 as the odds that you're buying. On prediction markets, you are buying shares represented by a yes or a no of a specific event happening. Now, these shares are represented by a price, and the price is variable. It can be anywhere from $0 all the way to $1. And as new information comes in, the price is going to change over time, which is represented here by this chart. You can see how much these prices swing. So you can treat this like trading crypto or stocks, where it can be day traded, it can be swing traded, because these markets are dependent on information. As new information comes in, the prices are going to change. But that also means if you plan on doing this, you need to pay hyper attention to these markets, because they are very dependent on global news coming in. They are dependent on individuals. If you are betting on when the government shutdown is going to end, a single tweet from Trump or somebody in the government can completely shift these odds, which is exactly what we saw happen yesterday after a tweet came in about the government shutdown. And you can see here the odds completely change directions. So let's talk about how these shares work, and then I'm going to show you how to make a trade. Now, shares are going to constantly have a price. The prices are variable, so they're always changing. Let's use the 50 basis point decrease just as an example. Okay, I'm not telling you to go buy yes or no for this. Currently, it's at a 3% chance of happening, so odds are very low. So the yes option is going to be much cheaper than buying the no option. Now, a single yes share is going to be 2.6 cents. If it results as yes, which every bet has an expiry date, this one is expiring on December 10th. So by December 10th, if it results as yes, and I bought in at 2.6 cents, my 2.6 cents is going to be worth $1. So for every share I purchased at 2.6 cents, I'm going to make 97.4 cents profit. On the other end, if I wanted to be less risky, which it's still risky, anything can happen, but because of the low odds, the market is assuming that this is going to result in no, so it's a lot more expensive to buy these shares. It is currently at 97.5 cents. And if it results as yes, it's going to go to $1. So the spread that I can make is 2.5 cents per share. So just to illustrate this for you, let's put a $100 bet. If I win with yes, it's going to be $3,687 profit. However, if I do no and I put $100, if I win, I'm only winning $2.56 profit. So I'm risking $100 to make $2.56 versus yes, I'm risking $100 to make $3,587 profit, but the odds of that happening are very low according to the market. However, the cool thing here, unlike sports betting, I do not need to wait until this resolves on December 10th in order to make money. Let's pretend I were to buy $10 of yes shares for a 50 basis point increase. And then tomorrow, Jerome Powell makes an announcement saying, you know what, we might need to do a larger decrease closer to 50 basis points. These shares are going to shoot up. These are going to go to 40, 50, 60, 70 cents per share. You're going to see it on the graph here just shoot up. And because I'm an owner of those shares, my $10 is now going to be worth like $250, $300. And because this is a peer-to-peer market, as long as there is a buyer, I am able to dump those shares before the event resolves. So even if I buy 50 basis point shares, if this goes up and it ends up being wrong, as long as I sold and got out, I don't care. I already made my profit. And that is the new landscape of trading prediction markets. This is where it is very different from traditional sports betting. And this is a whole new world that is super exciting because you're not trading the actual result. You are just trading information available at that time and future information. So let's take a trade just so you can actually see how this works. Let's do a fun one. Is GTA 6 going to release a trailer in 2025? I'm just going to bet yes, because I hope they do. Let's pretend I want to bet $5 on this happening. So a share price is currently 31 cents per share. So for $5, I'm going to get roughly 16 shares. And if I'm correct, if it results as yes, I'm going to make $16.13 total. So roughly $11 profit. So I'm going to go ahead and click buy yes. It is going to pull up my wallet. I'm going to have to sign a transaction, confirm, and you can see I have purchased some shares. So now if I go to my profile, I should see right here under positions, I currently have 16.1 shares of GTA resulting in yes at an average price of 31 cents. I'm down a little bit. Also due to fees and stuff. And then if I go to activity, I'm going to see my activity. So I just purchased this. This is where you get the transaction and see all the information if you want to follow along. Now let's go ahead and close it just so you can see what that's like. I would click on sell right here. I want to sell my yes shares. However, you'll notice that it's currently at 28 cents. I just bought it for 31 cents and it's still at 31 cents. So why, when I sell, am I getting a 28 cents fill? That is because you need to look at the order book. These are, sometimes very illiquid markets where you're trading against other people. So it's other people who need to put up the buy orders, right? Right now I was doing a market order. You can also do limit orders if you want to get out at a certain price. But if I want to get out right away, there needs to be a willing buyer on the other end of that transaction. And if we go look, the highest somebody is willing to buy my shares for is 28 cents. And he's only willing to spend $34.72 total. So if I had $1,000 that I needed to offload here, I'd have to go pretty low, all the way down to like 22 cents in order to exit my entire position. So this is something you always need to keep in mind, right? Let's just do buy a mock transaction here. If I want to spend $7,000 on this, even though it looks like it's over a 3x, if I'm correct, I'm currently getting less than a 2x. A 2x would be $14,000, but I'm only getting 11,000 if I'm correct. That is because my average price is at roughly 34 cents because there's not enough people willing to sell me yes shares. So the order book is very important to look at, as is liquidity. You want to look how much volume there is on the market you are trading. Some of these markets are extremely illiquid. Let's just look here. There's only $200 of volume that Trump is going to say F-35 on the next on his next meeting or during the next week. So if I want to bet, $1,000, my average price fill is at 100 cents. It's at $1. Like, it's not worth me even spending $1,000 here because I'm not going to get I'm actually going to lose money if I'm correct, because there's not enough people that are willing to sell me these shares. So you always need to be checking the order book and being careful that you're not getting filled crazy high. It is going to give you a warning if this happens, but this is something you need to pay attention to. I'm just going to sell to show you what it is. So I'm taking a 49-cent loss for you guys. So to sell, I would just click yes, sign, confirm, and voila, my shares are sold. You can see my history right here, and I no longer hold these shares. Now, I do want to say a quick thing on limit orders. So limit orders, I would just click limit. I can put, how many shares I want to buy, 1,000 at 19 cents. So I'm going to open this order. Let's go much lower there. I don't want to spend all this money at 9 cents. I would do, I'm doing sell. That's why. Let's do buy here. I want to buy 1,000 shares at 9 cents. I would do buy yes. I would place my limit order. And now if we go to the order book, I might have to refresh. Let's scroll. Okay, right here. These are my shares. You can see 0 of 1,000 filled. I have my shares open here, and I am now providing liquidity to this market. If we go right here, you'll notice there's a rewards section, and I'm not within the spread because the spread, you can see it says max spread roughly 3 cents. So I'm not going to be earning any money. But if we go to my account, you can see I did earn some here. I got 4% rewards. I was given 2 cents for having some limit orders open. So if you have a lot of money that you're doing this with, which I recommend like 99% of people not to do this for rewards. If you want to do limit orders to trade, fine, but it's very risky. If something happens, your limit order is going to get filled, and if the market nukes, you're not home, you're just going to get completely wrecked. So most people should not do this. There's a lot of sophisticated traders doing this, but this is how you make rewards. And I'm assuming here that this is one of the things they're going to look at for an airdrop. Were you providing liquidity? How much did you earn in rewards providing liquidity, on top of the normal thing being, how much did you trade? How many trades did you make? And especially, what is your trading volume? I think that's the main metric that they're going to look at. What is your trading volume on our platform? Now, there are a ton of prediction markets out there. The biggest one right now is Kalshi, but it is a centralized platform. So you have to do KYC, you have to give your identity. It's not available in my country, so I can't even use it. But what I love about Polymarket is it is entirely on chain, meaning all the information about trades, about traders is all public. I am able to find traders aping in to stuff and track them. I can copy trade them. I could see exactly what they're doing and analyze their strategy. Maybe they have an edge in sports betting or in politics, and I can keep an eye on their wallet to see what they're doing, which personally I find that is a beautiful thing with on-chain data. Now, because this is an information game, there's also a dark side to it, because there are going to be people using inside information to do this stuff. We're seeing brand new whale wallets being loaded up with money that's untraceable because it's from a centralized exchange, and they are aping, random markets that they shouldn't be aping. And then the result comes out like, oh, this was actually true and they made a lot of money. That was more likely than not insider information. And, you know, this is going to happen anywhere that there's money. We see we just saw in basketball, there was a ton of scandals that just came out, which is perfectly normal. However, this is on a whole new level because there are people involved here, right? There's things on like, when is a couple going to get divorced, or is somebody going to be announce a pregnancy? You know, people who are close to their lives can easily rig this. Look, how many tweets is Elon going to do in November? Like Elon can, I doubt he would do it, but he can easily come bet on himself and just tweet a bunch or stop tweeting, right? And get a 50x or a 100x. Same thing goes for mention markets. To me, this is the easiest to rig. What is a sports announcer going to say during the next game? Or what is the CEO going to say during their next earning call? And there's a bunch of words that you could bet yes and no on. This is so easy to just come read this list, bet on a ton of stuff, and then, you know, say crisis, say green, footing, or not say any of them. The ones that are likely to hit, you don't say them. And that's even less suspicious, right? If you're saying weird words, it's kind of suspicious, but there's no laws against this stuff, even if you did it. And if you think like CEOs and stuff are not paying attention to this, we just had Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, literally open a prediction market during the earnings call, which is recorded, it's public, and he read the entire list of words, and they all resulted in yes. People made and lost millions of dollars, and there's no laws against this. So I find this stuff super cool. This is not a trend. This is the future of betting. Like, this is not going away. Our society is becoming more and more hyper gambleized, right? We bet on like opening toy boxes and stuff. It starts at very young ages where we open Pokemon cards as kids and you get that dopamine rush. So people are going to become more and more addicted to this kind of stuff. It's dangerous. Like, you got to be careful. But if you have an edge somewhere, if you're smart, if you're using the right tools, especially AI tools, AI is going to be so much better at making predictions than humans that you can get an edge. So I really like these tools, and to me, this is super interesting. If you found it interesting, give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I got a ton of tutorials coming out. Thank you for watching another Crypto Gorilla video. Peace.